I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. All this guy does is talk about wine. He has no life. He has no friends. And a lot of that's true. But today, I have friends, Amici, from Italy. And that's what you're going to love about Italian wine, is that you become friends and family with them as soon as you visit them.
Thank you, Larry.
But my name is Larry Baker, or Lorenzo Baker for Italy today. I am a level 2 certified sommelier and senior wine and spirit specialist here at ABC Fine Wines and Spirits in Sunrise, Florida location. I didn't know much about Italian wine years ago until I got to visit these gentlemen with the great importer that I would say 90% of our ABC direct-to-you Italian wines are from. She's behind the camera because she would distract you. She's so beautiful. If she was on camera and we want to pay attention to the wine and my guest, it's Nadia Galati and Alberto Imports in Winter Park, Florida. In fact, those of you who know, when I worked at the Brazilian Steakhouse, I also, because of Nadia and these gentlemen, brought those wines on as well, because not to do Nadia a favor, but to do me a favor and my guests a favor, so they're great wine. On my right is my good buddy. This is Alberto Passeri. He is from La Gerla, and known for their Brunello di Montalcino, and they only grow one grape, Sangiovese Grosso, in all their wines, and that's in Tuscany, in case you don't know, and one of the most famous Italian wines is Brunello di Montalcino. And to my left is Michele di Gregorio, and he is from Tenuta, Cavalier Pepe, or Tenuta de Pepe. We like saying Tenuta de Pepe. And this is down in the south, Italy, about 76 kilometers away from Naples, in Campania region in Italy, near Mount Vesuvius and all that. And we'll talk about cities like that. We're not going to taste all these wines that they have with my guests, but thank you guys for being here. It's great to see you. It always feels like a reunion, but we are going to taste some, but I will mention every little wines. I'm going to start with the south of Italy because that's a little different than most people are familiar with. They have no idea about the grapes. A lot of people who say they don't like Italian wine is because they only know Chianti and Pinot Grigio, and there's so much more to Italian wines, and we're going to talk about that. Hi, Michele, and thank you for making time here, because we know you're always in Taiwan and Singapore, and these guys have a very rough life, just like me. Every traveling, globetrotter, everywhere, Iceland, Norway, I go everywhere, but no, I just stay in Sunrise, Florida. The whites that are really known in a lot of minerality, and that is from the volcano ash, is that you have?
Yes, we have two white wines, Falanchina and Greco di Tufo, very old grape variety, and we have the vineyards between 300 and 500 meters above the sea level. For this reason, we have wine with the structure, with acidity, with minerality. Mm-hmm. For Falanchina, we have a calcareous land. Falanchina is a wine with a good acidity, very easy to drink, not impregnated white wine. For the Greco, the land is different. It's a volcanic land, because this is a volcanic wine.
Right. There's subtitles. If you go to the YouTube channel, there's subtitles.
when there was the eruption of the Vesuvio in 79, the lava was arrived until the land of Greco di Tufo. For this reason, the wine has a minerality.
Now, was it a Greek grape? Is that why they call it the Greek grape? Greco means Greek. Is it a Greek grape?
Yes.
The
grape comes from the Greece. The name of the wine is Nestor. Nestor is an hero of the mythology Greece that like to drink this wine with the soldier to celebrate the victories. So the origin of the Greco are very old, and the Greco was cultivated before Rome was founded. This is the legend.
It's a good legend. In fact, Greco di Tufo is probably one of my favorite grapes from Italy. If you're a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc drinker, if you're a Pinot Grigio drinker, these are the kind of wines that you will want to seek out because you're going to love that. If you feel any tingling in your middle of your palate from what he's talking about, acidity. People get nervous in America when they hear acidity. They think heartburn. I don't want anything too acidic. I'm going to have to take Prilosec. No, acidity is good because that makes your mouth water and salivate, makes you want food. Acidity is very important, and instead of Americans who only think about wine with watching Netflix or I had a rough day, I think I'll have a glass, Europeans think about what am I eating. You ask any sommelier like myself, what wine are you having tonight? I always say it depends on what I'm eating. So we're going to taste the Greco, but the Falangina, by the way, is a fun wine, and I will never get my camera person, my wine sales supervisor, who you can visit at ABC Wine Paul Quaglini, is here holding the camera today. He made a crazy recommendation during Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and I tried it. Jalapeno poppers with Falangina, and for some reason, I don't know why, it worked unbelievable. So this is a fun wine to have with appetizers. I can't say appetizers without laughing with Nadia Galati here, but let's see what we got here on the nose. A little cold for my liking, but we'll see. As you see, a beautiful golden yellow on the color. I love the color of the yellow, beautiful.
Yes, that yellow, very, very strong, and the presence of the mineral also.
Beautiful, beautiful citrus fruits, apple, golden delicious apples on the wine. And like I said, that tingling on your tongue is not acidity, it is the minerals, the minerality of the wine makes you feel, some people say, is there a frizzante, is there bubbles in this? No, it's the acidity.
Very important about the Greco, this is an international DOCG, international certification of quality. In Campania we have 21 DOC and 4 DOCG. 3 of the DOCG comes from the Spina area. We have Fiano di Avellino and the Greco di Tufo for the white, and the Taurasi for the red. You can try a Greco from Apulia, a Greco from Basilicata, from Calabria, but are not DOCG. Greco DOCG you can produce only in 7 communes in Campania.
Right, and Taurasi, for instance, is one of 4 DOCGs in the Campania area. So DOCG is the government control. It doesn't mean wines that aren't DOCG are bad, but they under strict control. There's certain rules, and we'll get to that when we taste the Taurasi. And the big producer, which is well known if you drink Italian wine, Mastro Biadino is the big producer. But in my opinion, for the quality to price ratio, Tenuta to Pepe always delivers the goods better than the bigger names, and really hard to find wine. A lot of citrus peel on this wine, really good minerals, good, it makes me water. I feel like maybe I want some jalapeno poppers, but stone crabs, shrimp, light salads, Greco di Tufo or Falangina, or it's Fiano di Avellino and other wines that they're known for from the hills of Avellino, but this is from the hills of Tufo, and this is a DOCG, like I said. Let's move on to the red that is famous now. I would say 99% of even Italian chefs in restaurants, when you mention Chianti, when you mention Barolo, you mention Brunello di Montalcino, they know what it is. You say Aglianico or Taurasi, and they have no idea what you're talking about. Even Italian chefs, 5-star restaurants, don't know that the chefs here. So this is the Opera Mia, the Taurasi, and this is from the region of Taurasi. By law, it has to be 85% minimum Aglianico, but I believe this is 100%.
This is purity.
Yeah, purity, 100% Aglianico, and it has to age for 3 years, 3 years and 1 year being in the oak barrels. Use French oak?
French oak, yes.
French oak, and
yes.
I should pour myself some of this and forget about you. We don't get it.
I was ready.
You notice we go to the important wine guy first, not you. We go to.
Come on, I love Aglianico. I'm one of their big fans.
Aglianico? Aglianico.
Yes.
Aglianico. This is fun to say.
It's Aglianico.
Yeah, just call it the red Italian wine because you'll never remember Aglianico.
Thank you.
Okay.
Every region has the king. There is Barolo in the.
Right, and they call this the Barolo of the South. Okay, why? Because Barolo, which is a city, and so is Taurasi, a village. It's an area in Piemonte, but it's known for big, bold wines, and the grape is Nebbiolo. Here, it's a totally different grape, but it's also a big style, a late harvested grape, and it's also a big bold, could be tannic wine, you know, that good goes for a big meal and everything like that. I think it's opposite. I always thought that Taurasi, you know, that Barolo was the Taurasi of the north, as opposed to, you know, Taurasi being the Barolo of the south. I think I prefer Taurasi. They're more approachable. A little bit of brownish color on the edge, but lots of dark red berries, red fruit, right, on the taste.
It's really right.
If you pull the nose, anytime you taste red wine, if you pull the nose a little way and breathe in, you'll get any floral component.
We harvest the grape of Taurasi very late, between the
Yes,
October
late.
and
See,
the
late harvested
November,
grape.
because we have a unique climate, hot summer, windy winter, and during the fall there is a strong difference of the temperature between the day and the night. For this reason, the maturation of the grape is a slowly maturation.
And then in the Aglianico that they sell from the Erpina area, this has Merlot in it, right?
This is a blend with Merlot. Aglianico
15%?
15 Merlot.
15% Merlot, great drinking wine, affordable in the $12 price range. The Taurasi, $39.99. I'm telling you, this is so big. It's leathery. It's tannic. You know, it goes great with big food. Throw something on the grill. These are the wines of Campania, and I love this producer, Tenuta de Pepe. And now, unfortunately, we have to go to the other guy because, you know, and he's got 90,000 wines compared to the 4 wines here. But this store location doesn't. But most of our ABCs carry all of them. Alberto, right? It's all about Sangiovese Grosso. For the Brunello, the big one I want to talk about, Brunello di Montalcino. What does that mean, the brown wine of Montalcino? Because the soil is not, there's no grape called Brunello, it's Sangiovese Grosso, but the soil in Montalcino up in the hill gives a little brown colorish to it, you know, to the tinge, so they called it the brown wine of Montalcino. It's the aging law that's important. It has to age a minimum of 5 years total before they can release it. 3 of those years, no barrique, is in large oak, I think it's Slovenian cask that you
It's
use?
Slovenian oak.
Slovenian oak
the
cask.
really traditional
Right.
way to make
And then 2
Brunello.
more years in the bottle, and that's the big DOCG law. But Italians are not crazy; they want to drink wine all the time. So while they're waiting for the 5 years for this thing to get done, they have what some people call a baby Brunello, but it's the Rosso di Montalcino.
I like to call this
The
wine
business
very-
card to the. If I hear that one more
No,
time,
I like to call this wine like 1-year-old Brunello.
it is.
You know,
It is.
it's
It's
just
1
a
year
child
old.
Brunello.
Right, and it's a great wine. But what you see other Rossos that are out there on the market, they're going to put Merlot, they put Cabernet Sauvignon, they put Canaiolo, and you can by law because it's not as strict as laws as Brunello.
Not allowed.
But with every wine you're seeing here on the table from La Gerla, which by the way, La Gerla is that old wooden basket that you pick up. La Gerla is all Sangiovese Grosso, so you get 100% Sangiovese Grosso, all of them. So let's start off
Because
with the
we
Rosso.
believe, Larry, thank you for, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this.
I didn't invite you. I was forced to interview
No,
you.
you
but yeah,
invite me,
okay.
and every time you ask for, I'm here. So you have just to.
That's true.
Just to call for me.
Right.
No. No.
When are you going to invite me,
Sangiovese-
by the way? When are you going to invite me to Italy?
You don't
Always
need an
invited,
invitation.
right.
You don't need
Just
an
pay for
invitation.
my
You
plane
know,
ticket,
you know
right.
that. You know that. Your olive oil is ready for you.
I know. I drink
at
the olive oil.
winery.
It makes great olive oil.
Anyway, we invest a lot in these grapes, so we believe in Sangiovese, and in this case, in Sangiovese Grosso is the best grapes that we can grow in Montalcino. We have this different version. Of course, the Brunello di Montalcino is our flagship, and it's our most important wine. And this is the most aged Italian red wine. This is important because, as Larry said, before to put the Brunello in the market, you have to wait for the 5th year from the harvest. And there is any other wine in Italy that for law have to respect this a long time. But this is something that is like a guarantee of quality, because when you put the Brunello in the market, you receive, and you buy the bottle of Brunello, you receive an important red wine. This wine can age for many years. Generally, I suppose that beautiful vintage can age for 30, 40 years. We have some old Biondi Santi bottle that always that have also 100 years of aging. So we're talking about the Burgundy of Italy.
It is the Burgundy. In fact, in many places when I worked, I like to pour this by the glass because if you're a Pinot Noir lover or you're a red Burgundy drinker, this wine is for you. It may look transparent through it like it's light, but La Gerla wines are always packed full of complexity, flavor, and I always know them blind. I can taste La Gerla and pick it out of a bunch of Brunellos or Rossos because I always taste that raspberry, that licorice, that red licorice, and a complex flavor that goes on and on. And I want to mention that wines like Brunello and or Terrassi, Aglianico, they usually require 5-10 years even after you get them to age them. This is the only brand of wine that every reviewer says, La Gerla Brunello, drink now until maybe 30 years. If you want to age, you can, but they're always approachable style. What makes these wines so approachable?
Yeah, I was going to say that,
Yeah.
Larry. You just anticipated me. The style of La Gerla is to make a beautiful Brunello that you can age for years, but at the same time you can also enjoy at the moment that you buy. In order to have this characteristic, La Gerla make elegant Brunello. So the elegance is something that we achieve every time, and is our goal since we start with the little vines in our vineyards. The elegance is something that we like to share with our consumer. And in this case, in the Brunello that we are testing, the 2012, I think we have completely achieved this goal because this wine is so warm, it's so silky, it's so easy to drink that remind me some back vintage. So you can have a back vintage of Brunello at the current price, at the vintage that we have in the market now.
That's correct, and it's located, one of their main vineyards, the Gliangeli Vineyard of the Angels, is located right in front of the winery. This is on the old Biondi Santi site, and even Wine Spectator, I believe it was on the rating the 2010 reservers. They rated La Gerla like one of the best values in the world because a brand like Biondi Santi was like $165 retail, and here right now this is on sale, regular price $44.99. $42.99 for a Brunello that you could drink today is ridiculous, and from a great vintage, 2012, the new release. 2010 was to me my favorite vintage. I loaded up on every 2010 Brunello, especially La Gerla. 2011 was okay, but La Gerla fared well because they have that style, but not as good as the 2010 or the 2012. I'm loving, and that's what we're tasting now.
Yeah, you have a lot of complexity here that's coming from a hot summertime because 12 had a hot summer, but at the same time we had a little more rain in the springtime, so the wine achieved a very good balance. So you can this can be defined as a very flexible Brunello. You can drink now, but you can also take in the cellar for many years. There is nothing that is not so easy to achieve in a Brunello. So
Right.
the two possibilities.
Right. And I mean, I'm telling you, I taste so much Brunello. We have other Brunellos and they're good, but good for aging. This thing, I could literally, we just opened this. We you know, my crew is terrible. They just opened it. Should have been an hour, but I'm drinking this right now and it's very
If it's
approachable.
so good now, you can imagine in a couple of hours,
Right.
Larry.
And there's a couple other wines, the Bierber, which is aged in oak barrique, which is not a DOCG allowed, and Sergio Rossi, who owned the winery, asked permission to do that. They told him he was a smart ass, and that's kind of what Bierber means, a wise guy, a smart ass.
This is the best value wine.
Best
ever.
value, $29.99. It's
for
like
sure.
drinking a Brunello. It tastes just like a Brunello, but with more oak because it has aged in small barrique. And then we have also from a new vineyard, not to be confused with the Reserva Gliangeli, the Paggio Gliangeli, 100%. It's a $16 wine that tastes as good as all of this stuff for value. So there's many different price points, but I'm telling you, as far as the showcase wine, the Brunello di Montalcino or the Reserva, you will not find a better value than La Gerla. And on the whites from Campania, never forget the white wine, the Falanghina, Fiano di Avellino, and especially my favorite, the Greco di Tufo, and Aglianico with the little Merlot for a $12.99. I have customers buy it every week. It's the only wine. And Terrassi is not the Barolo of the South. It is Barolo is the Terrassi of the north. This is a big wine. One thing I'm going to finish this up with is, as an American, I want to help you guys because you're a marketing director, but you don't know what you guys are doing. This is why you need to hire me. You know, you travel all over Europe. I can't say this about La Gerla, but I could say this about your wines and 90% of all the red wines that Nadia carry. When you turn the back of the bottle and they suggest to the American market what foods to pair with this. Number one, always on the list, is game, wild game. So when you're in Kendall, Florida, or you're up in Tampa Bay laying on the beach, if you happen to see an elk walk by, shoot it, and now you know what wine to drink. To us, game is we turn on the baseball game, or we watch the Patriots lose in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I had to throw that in for Paul. And we drink this wine with a game. We don't have game here. Kentucky Fried Chicken while we're watching the baseball game.
This is a really educational.
Yes, you need to learn this.
interview, and you're like a machine gun for English language.
For English
us.
language, this is what I do.
Next time in Italy, we'll do the same. I will just speak Italian very fast, and I will teach you something about Italy. Okay?
We're going to drink some wine afterwards. For more information about these wines or any of Nadia's wines or ABC's Direct to You Italian Wines,
That's the man.
You can go on our website as well at www.abcfws.com. You could always reach out to me, and I will contact these people. Michele just told me his wines. He's going to Illinois and Chicago available. I know this guy's wines are available, La Gerla, in almost every market, almost every market.
Everywhere.
And plus, for my European viewers, are you in Australia, any of these wines, or Japan, or
Vietnam,
Taiwan? Yeah, so if you're watching out there, you can contact me, follow this blog, and through WhatsApp, Skype. Anyway, I will tell you how to find these wines in Europe. But of course, if you're in the state of Florida, or you're lucky enough to be near an ABC Fine Wine and Spirit, these wines, all of them, are available. Just ask your wine and spirit specialist to do that. And I always say my slogan, which is wine is not for snobs, it's for everyday people like you and me. But since he's going to speak Italian, he's going to say it in Italian. Alberto?
The wine, il vino è per tutti e non solo per gli snob e per pochi, quindi gradite il vino e
Why is it longer when you say it?
Del vino, because Italian I have to explain
Explain better than when I said it.
You are more
You know what? Everybody just buy this wine. That's my English. And until I see you again
Thank
next
you.
time. Chin chin, everybody. Chin chin. We see you soon.